welcome back to my channel. My name is Amanda. If this is your first time watching, so I just wanted to say thank you guys for understanding me with like my physics test I had yesterday, so I couldn't post anything this week because I had to study for that. I think I did like I don't want to say anything because like the universe, but I think it went okay. And the studying helped, but now I'm back to creating content because, you know, consistency. So today, oh, just some disclaimers before I get into it. I can't tell someone how to parent their kid. I can't. Oh, this is my Hamilton shirt, by the way. I did see it for my birthday and I cried 3 times. Anyway, I can't tell someone how to parent their kid. That is not my job. That's not my place, but I can comment on it. 1. 2, I'm going to be saying the word vagina a lot in this video. I think it's really important to actually say that word, the word vagina, because I think referring to that as like a box or like a cookie or whatever else it is referred to kind of doesn't express, and I think it's really damaging to not refer to a vagina as what it is. I think it can cause a lot of like, especially in children, if you don't refer to an organ as the organ's name, it can lead to a lot of confusion when it comes to things like, sorry, trigger warning, like sexual assault and stuff. So like, that's something I just want to put out there. But in today's video, let's get ready with me. That's why my face is bare. So in today's video, we're going to be talking about T.I. I hate this man. Is it every day? Is it every day with complete, I'm sorry. Is it every day with nonsense? Is it every day he has to act a fool on the internet? Who is T.I.? I know he was in a movie, or maybe 3. He made some music back in the day. Was it good? I don't remember. I don't know who this man is. I'm sorry. Not even I'm sorry. I just don't know who this man is. Anyway, on Beyonce's internet, he was on a podcast. I have some notes right here to make sure I get some names right. It's the Ladies Like Us podcast, a podcast that is broadcasted all over the world. It's like a podcast. That was dumb. And he went on this podcast, and basically what everyone got from what he was saying is he goes to his daughter, his 18-year-old daughter, who's a freshman in college, Deja. He goes to her gynecology appointments every single year to make sure that her hymen is still intact. This is just the part of, I'm just gonna inform. So he does that. Also on the podcast, which didn't get a lot of talk on Twitter, and what I found interesting in my research is that she had a 16th birthday party, and the day after her 16th birthday party, T.I. left a note on her door. It was a sticky note, and the sticky note literally said, and I quote, "Gyno tomorrow 9:30," after her 16th birthday, basically telling his daughter, "You're gonna go to the gynecologist tomorrow and I'm coming with you." So at all these appointments, because you know doctors have to ask, like, is there anything you don't want me to share with your parents? And basically, as T.I. was describing it in the interview, he basically answered for her and said, there's nothing she wants to hide from me. Ugh. And another quote that I want to bring in is that T.I., because the doctor, of course, had to explain, like, there's other ways for your hymen to be disrupted. Hymens do not break. I'll get into that later. He's like, there's other ways that your hymen can be disrupted that's not just from sex. And T.I. was like, and I quote, "Look, doc, she don't ride no horses, she don't ride no bike, she don't play no sports. Just check the hymen, please, and give me back my results expeditiously." There's so much to unpack here. But also, he also said that he did this, he like aired it out on the internet. His daughter's medical information on the internet, because he believes that once guys find out she's a virgin, they won't want to like mess with her anymore. So, there's a lot to unpack here. We can start off with this case of what just happened really is showing an example of how misogynoir starts in the home. Like, yes, misogynoir, if you don't know, is what Black women specifically experience. It's a word that describes a combination of the misogyny and racism that we experience, and how some of that, it can come from non-Black people, and it also can come from Black men especially. And it's talking about how misogynoir literally starts in the home. Like, yes, it exists in society, but the reason it still keeps going is because we have fathers like this who are invading their daughter's privacy because of misogyny. Policing someone's virginity, policing a woman's virginity is a form of misogyny, and like, you cannot convince me otherwise. Because if he had an 18-year-old son, would he be policing his virginity in this degree? He wouldn't. And that's why virginity, I'll get into this more later when I get into like the medical part, how much this like pissed me off, is like, men, there's no way to tell if you're a virgin. I'm using quotes because virginity is a man-made construct. It's not real. There's no way to tell if a man is a virgin, but there's a way to tell if a woman's a virgin. Isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting? How there is no way to tell if a man is a virgin according to this societal construct, but there's a way to tell if a woman is. I think it's quite interesting. I have to find a brush. I'm sorry. Now, why didn't I have this sitting out ready? Where is this? Oh, I found it. Okay. This isn't the brush. Sorry, guys. This is wasting so much. I'm gonna use this brush. Anyway, so this basically plays into the fact of like, Black women aren't allowed to be sexual beings in the way that other women are. And I challenge everyone to kind of think, because I'll use famous women, not famous, like YouTube famous people, because that's what, I mean, you're on YouTube right now, so I assume you watch YouTube. Tana Mojo. Do you think a Black woman could exist as Tana Mojo does with the platform that she has? Do you think a Black woman who acts like Tana Mojo would have the platform that Tana Mojo has? Do you think a Black woman coming onto YouTube telling the story of her sexual fiends and sexual experiences, which Tana Mojo has every right to do that. I don't like her for other reasons, racism, everyone forgets. But, you know, do you think a Black woman would be able to come on this app and just speak about their sexual experience like that? I don't think so, because Black women aren't allowed to be sexual beings. The way that we're allowed to be sexual beings is in the Jezebel. I'm pretty sure it's the right stereotype. It's the Jezebel stereotype. We're only allowed to be that way if we're being hypersexualized and over-sexualized. We're not allowed to just be people that have sex. So, T.I. doing this. The reason he had no problem doing this, and the reason why I'm pretty sure the podcast reactors, the people who are on the podcast, because I read their apology and they were like, we like didn't realize, basically. The reason why is because T.I. represents misogynoir. What he is doing is he represents this power structure that allows society to dehumanize and degrade and police the sexuality of Black women. That's what he represents. And that's why he said he felt just confident saying that on a podcast about his daughter when he definitely didn't have permission to do that from her. I can almost guarantee she did not give him any sort of like green light on exposing her medical sexual history to the world. But you know, like, that's what he represents. And also just like backstories and stuff, Black women's history with gynecologists and obstetrics, it's like not the greatest history, especially since the father, the quote-unquote father of gynecology, did all of his early testing on Black enslaved women, and how, you know, Black women are like a gazillion times more likely, I found the brush now, is gazillion times more likely to die in childbirth. The usual life as a Black woman, but you know, I digress. So that's the whole like misogynoir part, and how like that's like the deep part about like why what he said is bad, how it adds to the social structure that's already so powerful, that already has so much control over our bodies. He's part of the social structure that, I'm talking so fast, sorry. He's part of the social structure that is policing Black women and our bodies, and how we're not allowed to take ownership of our bodies. And when we're allowed to be sexual beings, it's because we're being hypersexualized and oversexualized. That's just misogynoir, just in general. Let's just get into how he completely invaded her privacy. I personally think, since virginity, quote unquote, it's your body, it is your choice. Now, I'm not a parent. I don't have kids. So like, I know a lot of parents want to know or do actually want to police their child's virginity. I don't necessarily agree with it, but like, it happens, so I have to say that. However, he didn't need to share this with the world. He did not need to go on a pod, because the podcast person asked them, have you had like the sex talk with your kids? And instead of just being like yes or no, he shared this entire story. And instead of just being like, yeah, here's how I did it, or no, here's how I didn't do it, he decided to air this out. Ugh. He definitely did not ask her. I would almost bet my college tuition on it that he did not ask her if he's allowed to just speak about this on a podcast, did not get her permission. Deja is 18 years old. Even though like she is his kid, I'm pretty sure, I'm not a lawyer, but I'm pretty sure you need some sort of like, you need to be allowed to do this, but you know, it's sick. It's downright sick. And one of his reasonings, I need to quote this because this is up, you guys are going to be in shock. One of his reasonings for doing this, I said it before, was how he thinks that because now the world knows that his daughter's a virgin, that men won't want to date her. Here's the quote. There, meaning virgins, no fun. Who wants a virgin? Like really, all that work. It's worms. It's worms. I don't even think like drugs, because like I don't think drugs can do that to you. I think it's worms. I think it's a parasitic infection in his brain. Actually, I'm not gonna give him enough credit as that. He's probably just dumb. I'm not even gonna blame it on a poor parasite. They didn't do nothing to me. He's probably just dumb. It's just airing out, like imagine your father or your parent or anyone in your life just completely airing out your sexual history literally to the world. Literally to the world. You are already the daughter of a famous person. You probably don't have that much privacy to begin with, and now your own dad goes on the Big Blue app. No, he doesn't. He goes on a podcast, sits in front of a microphone and says this stuff when he knows that this stuff is going to go all over the internet. Twitter is a very big thing. Quite large. A lot of people use that app. And now all of these people know about Deja's sexual history and sexual experience. Could you imagine? The invasion of privacy, the lack of respect, it's like she doesn't have any rights. I lived for, oh geez, the same men who come on this app, and whenever there's like an 18-year-old girl, they're like, well, 18-year-old is grown, she can make her own choices, and they're and they're 45 trying to pray. Go watch my video on dating age gaps and predatory behavior, because that's something Liam Payne needs to watch that as well. I'm a One Direction stan, and I wasn't surprised, but I was still disappointed. So where is my bronzer? I didn't plan where I was gonna sit in this video at all, and it looks like oh never mind. Okay, it's just, and he, like, the same men who were on this Big Blue app being like 18-year-olds can make their own decisions, they're allowed to have sex with me, someone who is literally twice their age, got on this app again and was like, well, she's a child, he's allowed to make the decisions for her, she has no rights. So I was sitting there and I said, so which one is it? Does she have rights or does she not? Is an 18-year-old a child or an adult? Because you can't have it both ways. You can't have it one way when you want to have sex with them, and then have it a different way when someone's clearly violating their right as human beings. Which one is it? Oh. I thought so. Now, I'm pre-med, in case you guys didn't know. So, due to the lack of sexual education in this country, there was a lot of misinformation in what TI said that needs to be addressed. I think that's part of the issue. Is like, I know at my high school, we didn't have sex ed. I went to an all-girls Catholic high school. We did not have sex ed. We had one of our teachers like heard someone make a comment in like the lunchroom one day and literally decided it was the week before I was a senior. She heard something the week before the seniors' last day of classes, and 2 days before our last day of class, we had a crash course in sexual education because people didn't know anything. There is a clear lack of sexual education amongst young adults, amongst teenagers in high school, and amongst young adults, because if you don't learn it in high school and there's no sex ed in college, where are you gonna learn it? I know you have all these completely wrong ideas about sex, about virginity, about vaginas. You don't know. We're gonna get into why what he said was, we're gonna talk about medically, it's gonna jump out. Campbell biology, that's what's gonna happen on the screen right now. I'm gonna define some things. So a hymen, I had to do some research onto this as well because I was misinformed on some stuff as well. I wonder why. So the hymen is a thin, I have to put this down, is a thin membrane that covers the opening to your vagina. I have lost every single brush, never mind. So that's what a hymen is. The purpose of a hymen is mostly in infancy. So when you are an infant, the hymen is rigid and it covers the opening to your vagina, so that because when you're an infant, you can't control. You're wearing a diaper, you can't control when you poo or when you pee. Poo poo pee poo. You can't control that. So the hymen is there to make sure none of that stuff goes inside your vagina and causes any sort of infection. That's what it's for. But once you get older, there's no need for it anymore. So the hymen therefore bends. Hymens don't break. That is something that I myself didn't know until a little while ago. They don't break. They just become more flexible. So how is T.I.'s doctor going to check if his daughter is a virgin if hymens don't break? They become more flexible as you age. Not if you've been using your sexual experience, just as you age. As your hormones change, your hymen changes shape. So some people don't even have hymens and everyone's hymen looks different. If your hymen is already quote unquote looks like you've had a lot of penetration, you could have been just born like that because your hymen changes. Every year, I don't know how often it changes, but when you have any sort of hormone change, when you grow older, when you gain weight, anything that causes a hormonal change can change the way your hymen looks. That's why it's not an accurate way to see if someone is still a virgin or not. So this is something that I had to look up actually myself, because I was like, you always hear about, well, when the hymen breaks, blood it bleeds. Blood happens, it bleeds. And I was like, so is that true or is that not? So when the hymen breaks, most people don't actually bleed from first penetration. 2 out of every 3 women do not bleed. 2 out of 3 people with vaginas don't actually bleed from penetration. And if they do, it's not due to the hymen breaking, because hymens don't break. It is due from lack of lubrication of penetration. When something is being, there's a lack of lubrication. So that's why that's why blood happens. That's why it's uncomfortable, but it shouldn't be. And then something else that came up is the idea of virginity testing. So let me get out my brush because I like to use this. Virginity testing is when a doctor, sometimes I need a doctor, a police officer, a government official, depending what country you're in, inspects the vagina to see if the person is still a virgin or not. And they look at how open the hymen is. They look at how open the vagina, the hole is. just to see how wide it is. So I read a study as I was doing research for this video, and this study was done on people it was all over the world, but the specific part that I'm talking about is in Pakistan, and how the women who get virginity testing done on them, they describe it as psychological torture, because how you are when you're getting the virginity test done to you determines the results. If you are tense, or if it's being done against your will, the results will look like you are quote unquote not a virgin anymore, which is why it's psychological torture, because you have to go in and act a certain way. Otherwise, you don't know what kind of violence could happen to you because of violence against women. So because vaginas bend and are flexible, the testing how open your hymen is not an accurate test to test virginity. 2 + 2 = 4. I'm sick. And I have to read this part, because this part I had to look up myself. So you know how people are always like, well, if your vagina is like wider, that means you've had a lot of things inside you. Are you dumb? I want you to think about that statement and think about how it logically makes no sense. So they're talking about the hole. So, you know, babies come out of that hole. Babies, like, how bad are babies come out of that hole, right? Like babies come out of that hole. So babies come out of that hole, and the hole returns back to its normal size. We're ignoring, you know, how elasticity of the muscles and all that kind of stuff, and like tendons or whatever down there, that changes, but the hole usually returns back to its normal size. Then how would make a hole wider if a baby doesn't? If a baby doesn't, how would it do? How would that happen? A baby, big babies, you know how big their head is? This doesn't change how wide the hole is. So why would it do so? Please enlighten me. I would literally love to hear the responses on how that could possibly happen. Now we get into not necessarily the main issue, but one of the main issues what T.I. said. Virginity is a social construct. It is not a real thing. It is not a real thing. Back to what I was saying before. How is there a way to tell if someone with a vagina is a virgin, but there's not for men? Do you think about how that doesn't make any sense? That means it's not real. That means it's not real. If there's no way to tell, for one, that means it's not real. It's not real. It's not real. And I think part of the issue, I'm like completely off T.I. right now. I'm done talking about him. I'm just talking like in general, just about how as a society, not necessarily a society because I can't do anything, but as like people who are educators in schools, high schools, colleges even, need to do a better job of having, you know, proper sex ed, is we need to change the way we speak about virginity, and even some of the statements that are used to describe virginity aren't the best. For example, like, I lost my virginity. They took my virginity. It's implying that you're not in control of yourself and your body as a person. And due to society like consistently sexually exploiting women, we need to change that rhetoric, because it's implying those statements are agreeing with society, saying that we're allowed to exploit women. If you're saying they took my virginity, it implies it was never yours to begin with. And it is. It's you have control over your own body. And that is why this T.I. thing is so upsetting. This 18-year-old girl has no control, has no rights over her body because of her father. Imagine how tired we are. This is damaging the psychological implications of, I can't believe I said that, of what he did to her, and now by that the entire world knows about it. Gosh darn. Gosh diddly darn, actually. That must be awful. And then this happened yesterday, and then I wake up this morning, and I see that the Breakfast Club was talking about this. One, the Breakfast Club is a terrorist organization. They do nothing but incite commotion and distress amongst society. They have no purpose here. Charlemagne is a menace to society. A menace. And he needs to, I don't know what needs to happen to him, but he needs to go. He should be in jail. He should be in jail for, you know, trigger warning, rape. But he's not. Due to our lovely justice system. That organization, it's a talk show? Radio show? I don't know what it is. Needs to go. Just like the Shade Room, they need to go. Terrorist organizations, domestic terror, they have to go. But they're talking about it, and of course, Charlemagne and whoever else was there was agreeing with him, saying it's just active parenting. Policing your daughter's body is active parenting. We have to be on drugs. I wouldn't even blame this on drugs. I would blame this on I can't blame it on parasites again, but it's something that's not right. Like, this is such an issue. This is such a problem. That whole talk show, there was apparently one person there who was like the voice of reason. I did not listen to it because I would never ever give them a view or listen, whichever one it is. I don't know if it's a radio show. I don't know. But apparently there was someone there who was the voice of reason. I guess I'm glad for that, but also basic human decency. So what am I to do? Yeah, that's basically what happened yesterday. I'm sick. Happened literally yesterday. Is it every day with nonsense? And how society wants to police women. Can't do anything. And now we have people, and I know T.I. is not the only person who does that, who actively goes to the gynecologist's office, not to check on his daughter's well-being, but just to make sure the hymen is intact. The hymen is intact. What? The hymen is intact. Anyway. And that's my lip gloss. Well, anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. That's it. Because I'm like really heated up now, and I have to film a whole other video after this, so I can't get too heated up. So that's the end of this video. Thank you guys for watching. Oh, I want to know what you guys think about the situation. Do you think, like, is T.I. justified? Please don't comment in my comments if you think he's justified. Please just leave me alone. Please get out of my comments if you think he's justified, because you'll make me want to die. No, you won't, but you'll make me sick, like physically, like I'll gag. So just let me know what you guys think about the situation. I'm sick because of it. I feel physically not well because of it. So let me know what you guys think, and thank you guys so much for watching my video. I'm looking for my other lip gloss. I found it. Okay. So thank you guys so much for watching my video. Make sure to like and subscribe, and you can turn on my post notifications if you want. I would advise that you do, because YouTube is messing with everyone and everything. So if you want to, you can do it, but I'm not forcing anybody. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching my video. Thank you for the support, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.